This is the Drumlogue, our hybrid drum machine, an incredible instrument. You've got a perfect fusion of analog parts, digital parts, and a multi-engine. And then you've got some amazing effects on top. Bring it all together and put it into this platform where you can do some incredible sequencing in the Drumlogue. So let's have a listen to it. So to select your different patterns, you just literally press select there. You've got different banks. So let's select this pattern here and then press play. And it plays back for you. Now the reason I've picked that one is because I wanted to just play the analog sounds, the 4 analog parts from this pattern. So we've got kick drum, snare drum, low tom and high tom. And then we can sculpt those sounds using these hands-on controls. So we can increase the kick drum decay, for example, the amount of drive. We can also tune it. If we want to see any more detail within that sound, we can just go into the page there, and we can page through. You can see lots of different things. You've got a transient control, so you can add a PCM sample to the front end of the sound. You can also change the sweep, and you've got a filter in there as well. And of course you can pan it and add effects. So the same thing goes for your other parts. So you've got snare drum there. Change the snap, tune it, the decay, and again if you press page you can go through and you can see there's lots of different models built in. Low tom, decay, tune, detune, and there's your high tom, and if you hold down shift you can change those parameters for the high toms as well. So as well as your 4 analog parts, you've got 6 digital parts in here as well. So let's select the next pattern. So you can hear there's a few more things going on there, including some digital samples. So they're being handled by these 6 parts here, and you can trigger them because we're in live mode here. So if we want to see what's going on with any of these, again just press page and you can see that's telling us the sample, which you can change. And we're in the rimshot bank, but you don't have to stay in that bank within that sound. So you can say, okay, let's go into miscellaneous. Check out some of the many samples we've included in the Drumlogue. And you've got a user section as well, where you can bring in your own samples. And that's very easy to do. You can just connect your computer via USB and then drag and drop your samples into the Drumlogue. It's that easy. The next section to talk about is the multi-engine. So this has a few different parts to it. So the first part is what we call VPM. So this is an FM based sound, which again you can go into page there and change all the parameters. Start editing it. You've also got, if I hold down part there, noise. So same thing, different types of noise and lots of parameters within there. And the third part is a user part where you can bring in user log SDK oscillators. We've actually included one in there already called Nano from SignVibe, which is a great synth. What's great about the multi-engine as well, and all these parts in fact, is you can play them via MIDI. So let's bring in my MIDI controller and I'll show you how that works. So I've got my MIDI controller hooked up to the Drumlogue via USB. It powers it and sends MIDI all down one cable. This is a MicroKey 37, but any USB class compliant controller will work. So it means I can play my VPM part, or my noise, or my user synth. And of course I can then go in and edit it if I want to. So you can trigger just one of the parts, or you can put it into a different MIDI mode where it will chromatically play all of the different parts, which is also great if you've got a drum pad connected. Another great feature of the Drumlogue is the fact you can very easily mute and solo parts, and you've got this great mixer along the top. So let me show you that. So if I've got one pattern playing, I can hold down mute. I can take out my kick and my snare very easily, for example. I can also solo, and that's shift mute. So I can have my hi-hat, for example, and then bring everything back in. Or if I want to change the mix a little bit, I've got these little pots at the top. So my clap, for instance, at the moment is quite quiet. And I can just adjust the level. So if I want to bring it a bit more prevalent in the mix, you can hear that now. Or I can get rid of it. Or of course I can change the levels of my other parts really easily. Super easy to make your own pattern as well on the Drumlogue. So we can take a pattern like this, which is a preset. It's also got the snare drum part muted. Let's put the tempo up a little bit as well. Tempo is its own control there. So you've got two ways that you can kind of start from scratch. The first way is to initialize the pattern completely and the kit. So that's Shift initialize there. And what that'll do is give me a blank canvas and I can start building my sound and my pattern from scratch. Or if you like the sound you've got, but you just want to start the pattern from scratch, you can say Shift, clear all. And now I've got nothing there, but I've still got my sounds I can still work with, or of course tweak them. So it can be a good starting point sometimes. So to record, you just hit play and then record. You'll hit the click. And as you can hear, it quantizes it all in nicely. So that's recording live, but you can also step parts in. So if I go into step mode there, and then press parts and select, say, the hi-hats. And let's add also an open hat as well. Now at the moment my pattern is 1 bar long, 16 steps, and that's reflected here. So this is telling me it's 1 bar long, and this is what I'm actually seeing here as my part. So if I go back into part and then close hat, you see there's my close hats. If I hold down time, it'll show me the length, and I can change that, or I can just go Shift, expand, and then it will double it in length, and it automatically copies by default what you've already got in the first bar into the second bar. So we've got a carbon copy there. Now, I really like this sound, but I want to put that just in the second bar. So let's record that in live. So you're hearing that second time. The system the Drumlogue employs in terms of programs and kits is very interesting as well. So programs are the patterns and the kits together, but the kits are also separate, which means when you've got a pattern like this, you can just press select and try out different kits with that same pattern. So then I can save my program just by pressing save there, selecting a target, and then just saving it very, very easily. So as well as our time parameters we can see in that screen, if I hold down Shift and time, it takes us into the groove screen, and this is where you can add some swing and a little bit more character to your patterns sometimes. So let's have a listen to this pattern. Kind of a funk pattern, but very, very straight. If I hold down Shift and time to go into the groove screen, you can see I can start swinging it to give it a bit more feel, and there's loads of different types as well, and that can be globally like that, or it can be on a per part basis, which is really cool. So you can swing some parts and not others. So with this pattern you're hearing quite a lot of detail and sort of variation on that hi-hat pattern, and that's employing a technique called ratcheting, and you can get access to that via the accent button here. So if I press accent and then select my part, being the close hat again, these are the steps, and then I can hold them down to see what the ratchet parameter is per step. So I can turn those ratchets off, or I can turn them back on, or make them even more rapid if I want to. If you're in step mode, doing the same thing will show you the probability and whether you want to have alternate patterns or always, and you can also do timing offsets there as well. And we've got motion recording built into the Drumlogue, which is awesome. So let's select a different pattern. So you can hear that kind of bongo sound. It's quite a big part of the pattern, but it's just staying at the same pitch all at the moment. But I can add some motion to that very easily if I want to. First of all, I need to select the parts. That's the part there, as you can hear in the pattern. If I want to add some motion to that, all I need to do is press motion and then go and find what I want to change. It's going to be the tuning in this case. Start the pattern off, hit record, and you can hear that pitch deviation I've created there. I can even go into each individual step and edit those like that. And you can see them all changing. You can actually add up to 8 different layers of motion per part, so you can get some amazing things going on and an incredible amount of motion within your patterns as well. This is a really nice pattern to show off the real expansive effects in the Drumlogue. So you've actually got 3 effects blocks. You've got delay and the different types here. That's a stereo BPM at the moment. Reverb, some incredible reverbing effects in there, and a master effect as well. So the delay, for example, if I wanted to add some delay to my clap sound, I just select the sound, go and find the delay send, and I can also add some more reverb to that if I want to. So that makes that clap sound a lot more washy and kind of fits in with the rest of this pattern really nicely. The master effect, let's show you what we can do here. So you've got compressor, filter, boost or EQ. So let's go with the filter, and then by paging up I can see all the different parameters. So low pass filter, band pass, high pass, and then this knob here is the amount of cut off I can apply. Got a really cool feature in here called loop. So you can have a pattern playing, press loop, and then each of these buttons you can press to loop it just around that one step, or it could be multiple steps, and also different speeds. You can also change whether it's momentary or not, so you can toggle it on and off, and you can play forward or random as well as decide how it's synced. So at the moment, whatever I do, it's always going to come back in time, which is always a good thing. You can also use chain mode to link your patterns together. So if I press chain there, you'll see you've got 2 in that chain, but you can have up to 16. So if I start it off, that's playing pattern A11, which is 4 bars in length, and then it's going on to pattern B7, which is also 4 bars long, 4 measures, and then it will now go back to the original. And you can see, because I've only got 2 in there, it'll just keep alternating between those 2, but you can add up to 16 in there as well. So on the rear of the Drumlogue, you've got a whole host of connections. It's actually really well spec'd. So you've got a headphone connector, you've got left and right for audio, which we've got it connected to now, but you've also got 4 assignable outputs as well. So you can assign any of these parts to any of these outputs, which is great for recording. You've got an audio input on a mini jack, and you've got sync in and out, so it will talk to a lot of our gear, whether that be Volkers, Monologue, Minilog, and so on, and that's the way you can get your timing in sync. You've also got traditional MIDI in and out as well for connecting any MIDI keyboards, and 2 USB connectors. So you've got USB to host, which is great for connecting to your computer. So that's the way that you would get your samples in and out, do software updates and so on. And you've also got a to device setting, which you saw earlier in the video, where you can connect a USB controller. So there we go. That is the Drumlogue.